He was still conscious, barely. If you're listening to this, stay with me. This is one of those calls where every second stretches, where time doesn't just matter, it weighs on you. Some accidents announce themselves with noise and chaos. This one was already quiet when we arrived, and that worried me more than sirens ever could. The call came in as a severe vehicle collision. Single car, high speed, rollover, possible entrapment. Location was rural, a narrow road with limited access, the kind of place where help doesn't arrive fast unless you make it. When we pulled up, the car was barely recognizable. Folded metal, shattered glass, engine displaced. It looked like something that had been crushed, not crashed. The smell hit first: fuel, hot oil, burned rubber, and dust. That smell never lies. The vehicle was upside down, roof pancaked, one side buried into a shallow ditch. No movement, no yelling, just the ticking sound of cooling metal and a faint hiss from somewhere under the hood. Then I saw his eyes. He was pinned beneath the dashboard, his torso twisted at an angle no body is designed for. Blood ran down his forehead, slow and steady. His breathing was shallow, uneven, but his eyes were open, focused, locked onto me the second I leaned into the wreck. That's when I knew this wasn't a recovery. Not yet. If stories like this matter to you, if you want to understand what real rescue looks like beyond the headlines, stick with me. I introduced myself loudly, clearly, told him my name, told him help was here. His lips moved before any sound came out. When it did, it was barely a whisper. I can't feel my legs. Those words change everything. I told him not to move, even though he couldn't. I told him to keep breathing, slow, with me. I counted out loud, partly for him, partly for myself. Keeping him conscious mattered. Keeping him calm mattered more. We stabilized the vehicle first. Struts, cribbing, chocks, metal groaned as weight shifted, and every sound made my shoulders tense. One wrong move and the whole structure could collapse further onto him. My hands moved from habit. Experience doesn't make you fearless. It makes you efficient. Fear is still there, sitting quietly in the back of your mind, watching every single decision. I leaned in again, checked his airway, and assessed the bleeding. No massive external hemorrhage. That was good. Internal injuries were almost guaranteed. His pulse was rapid but present. Skin, cool, clammy, shock was already setting in. I kept talking to him, asked his name, where he was coming from. Simple questions. Anchors. His answers were slow but coherent. That mattered. Then he looked at me and said something I won't forget. Don't let me die here. There's no script for that moment. You don't promise things you can't control, but you don't walk away from it either. I told him we were doing everything possible, that he needed to stay with me, that giving up wasn't an option. If you've never worked a scene like this, understand something. Rescue is not fast. Movies lie. Real extrication is methodical, cautious, and painfully slow. Metal has to be cut in the right order, pressure relieved carefully. One wrong cut can shift weight and crush what you're trying to save. We brought in the hydraulic tools. The sound cut through the quiet like a scream. Metal resisted, then gave way inch by inch. Sparks flew. The smell intensified. Every time the car shifted, his breathing changed. I watched his face more than the wreck. Pain flickered across it, then fear. I talked him through it, even when my own jaw was clenched tight. Sweat ran down my back despite the cool air. My gloves were slick. My forearms burned from holding position at an awkward angle. But I didn't move, not when his eyes kept finding mine. Halfway through the extrication, his responses slowed. His eyes fluttered. That scared me more than the wreck ever could. I raised my voice, called his name, told him to stay with me. Counted again. Breaths, numbers, anything to keep him anchored. This is the part where experience matters, where you recognize the edge before you go over it, where you adjust, adapt, and push without rushing. We created space slowly, lifting the dash millimeter by millimeter, cribbing stacked, tools repositioned, every movement coordinated. When the pressure finally eased enough to free his chest, his breath came deeper, stronger. Not safe yet, but better. I leaned in close and told him we were almost there, and I meant it. The moment his breathing deepened, I felt the entire scene shift. Not relief, not yet, but possibility. And in rescue work, possibility is fuel. We weren't done, not even close. The dash was still pinning his lower body, and freeing him without causing a catastrophic injury was a calculation we had to get right the first time. There are no do-overs when someone is trapped under twisted steel. Every cut changes the physics of the wreck. I repositioned myself, wedged between the frame and the ditch, my knees pressing into cold mud. My radio crackled with updates from command, but my focus stayed locked on the man beneath the wreckage. His name echoed in my head every time his eyes drifted closed. I told him what we were doing, step by step. People think that's just reassurance. It's not. Conscious patients need context. Silence, lets fear fill the gaps. As the hydraulic spreaders pushed the dashboard away, I saw his legs for the first time. The damage was severe. The kind of injury that changes a life forever, but he was alive. His pulse was stabilizing. His breathing was holding steady. He was still fighting. The final cut released the last piece of metal, trapping him. 4 of us, moving as one, carefully slid a backboard under him. Lifting was a delicate process, a choreographed movement to keep his spine aligned, to minimize any further damage. The moment he was clear of the wreckage, the air changed. The tension didn't vanish, but it transformed. He was out. Now the next phase of the fight began. We moved him to the ambulance, where the medics were ready. As they started working, our job at the wreck was essentially over. I stood back, catching my breath, my muscles finally letting go. I looked at the car, a mangled sculpture of what it once was. Then I looked at the ambulance as its doors closed. In that quiet moment, you replay every decision, every cut, every word spoken. You don't always win. Some calls are recoveries from the start. Some people you talk to don't make it to the hospital. But on this day, we did. He was alive because we were methodical. He was alive because he refused to give up. And he was alive because for a few intense hours, a team of strangers worked as one, holding back the chaos just long enough. That's the reality of it. It's not about glory. It's about showing up, focusing on the person in front of you, and doing the work, one slow, deliberate step at a time. It's about being the voice that cuts through the fear and says, "Stay with me." If you've ever been through something like this, or know someone who has, remember that there are people who will show up for you. If you're struggling with trauma from an event like this, please reach out for help. There are resources available, and you don't have to go through it alone. Thanks for listening. Subscribe for more stories from the front lines.